My dear child, today I want to hold your hand and walk with you through something that could change your entire life forever. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday when you feel ready. Right now, in this very moment, as you sit here and listen to these words, something is happening inside you that is bigger than you can fully understand. Yet, there is a reason you are here. There is a reason these words found you today. And before this is over, I believe with everything in me that you will understand exactly why. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not too far gone. You are not a lost cause. You are not the sum of your worst mistakes. I see every single crack in your heart. I see every scar that life has left on your soul. I see every moment you tried your best and still failed. I see every night you cried silently into your pillow when the whole world was asleep and no one knew how much pain you were carrying. I see every morning you woke up exhausted before the day even began. I see every time you put on a brave face for your family, for your friends, for your co-workers, while deep inside you were quietly falling apart. I see all of it, every single piece. And even after seeing all of that, every flaw, every failure, every hidden shame, I still call you forward. I still reach for you. I still choose you. Because brokenness does not disqualify you from love. Brokenness does not disqualify you from purpose. Brokenness does not disqualify you from the future that was designed specifically for you before you were even born. The only thing that can truly hold you back is when you stop responding, when you stop leaning in, when you close your heart and walk away. But you have not done that. You are here. You are listening. And that alone tells me that hope is still alive inside you. That little flame has not gone out. That quiet voice inside you that keeps saying, there has to be more than this. That voice is still speaking, and that is more than enough for me to work with. You have been telling yourself a story for a very long time. The story sounds something like this. I am too damaged. I have made too many mistakes. I have wasted too much time. I had my chance and I missed it. Other people deserve good things, but not me. I am different. My situation is different. My past is too heavy. My sins are too many. My wounds are too deep. You have rehearsed this story so many times that it has started to feel true. But I need you to hear me clearly right now. That story is a lie. It is a lie dressed up in the clothes of your own voice, so that it sounds convincing. It is a lie that has been sitting in your heart. And today we are going to deal with that lie together. What you call brokenness, I call exposure. Those painful places in your life, those moments that cracked you open and left you feeling raw and vulnerable, those were not punishments. Those were classrooms. In those broken places, you learned things that comfortable people never learn. You learned humility. You learned empathy. You learned what it feels like to need help. You learned that you are not as strong alone as you thought you were. And those lessons, as painful as they were, have been shaping you into someone who can understand grace in a way that people who have never suffered simply cannot. What you call your worst seasons, I call your greatest formation. Painful? Yes. Purposeful? Absolutely. You have been thinking that wholeness means never having been wounded, that if you were truly healed, truly restored, truly right with me, you would not have any scars left. But that is not how wholeness works. Wholeness does not mean you were never broken. Wholeness means you were broken, and you brought every broken piece into the light and let me put it back together. A repaired vessel is not a failed vessel. It is a testimony. It is evidence that restoration is real. And your life, with all its cracks and all its repairs, is becoming one of the most powerful testimonies I have ever written. So right now, in this moment, I am asking you to release the lie. Release the story that says you are too broken to move forward. Release the idea that your past has permanently disqualified your future. You are not being invited forward because you earned it or because you finally got everything right. You are being invited forward because you are loved completely, unconditionally, without reservation. And love does not wait for perfection before it opens the door. Love opens the door and says, come as you are. Come with your mess. Come with your questions. Come with your trembling hands and your uncertain heart. Just come. Broken things in my hands do not stay broken. They become bridges. They become testimonies. They become the very tools I use to reach other people who are sitting exactly where you are sitting right now, wondering if there is any hope left for them. Your story is not finished. Your worst chapter is not your last chapter. And the truth that I need you to hold on to with both hands right now is simply this. You are not too broken to move forward. You are ready, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing, and willingness is truly all I have ever needed. If you are finding these words meaningful today, and they are speaking to something deep inside your heart, I want to encourage you right now to subscribe, leave a comment. Now, my dear child, I need to speak to you about something that might be uncomfortable to hear, but I am saying it because I love you too much to stay quiet. You are running out of time to decide. Please hear me carefully before fear jumps in and twists these words into something they are not. I am not saying you are running out of my love. I am not saying you are running out of mercy. My love for you does not have an expiration date. My mercy is renewed every single morning. But this season, this particular window of time and grace and clarity that you are living in right now, this does not last forever. Seasons change. They always do. And what is available to you in one season is not always available in the next. Think about it honestly. Time is moving whether you are ready or not. Every single moment you spend sitting in indecision, something else is making the decision for you. Fear makes a choice on your behalf. Comfort makes a choice on your behalf. Old habits make choices on your behalf. And slowly, quietly, without you even fully realizing it, the life you were meant to live starts to drift further and further away. Not because I took it from you, but because inaction chose a direction for you. You can feel it, can you not? That subtle narrowing, that quiet sense that something needs to change. That restlessness that wakes you up at strange hours of the night. That feeling that you are standing on the edge of something, but you cannot bring yourself to step forward. That is not anxiety. That is not stress. That is your spirit waking up. That is discernment beginning to sharpen inside you. That is me pressing gently on your heart, saying, now is the time. Not to frighten you, but to prevent you from sleeping through a moment that was meant to change everything. You have told yourself so many times, I will decide when I am sure. I will move when I feel ready. I will step forward when the fear goes away. But here is a truth that fear does not want you to know. Certainty does not come before the decision. It comes after. You do not wait until you feel brave and then act. You act, and then you discover that you were braver than you thought. Clarity does not arrive before obedience. It arrives as a reward for obedience. You do not get to see the whole staircase before you take the first step. You take the first step, and then the next step becomes visible. That is how this works. That is how it has always worked. And I see how tired you are of circling the same ground over and over again. I see how exhausted your mind has become from replaying the same scenarios, rehearsing the same conversations, revisiting the same fears, asking the same questions, and arriving at the same paralysis. That exhaustion is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is the very real and very heavy cost of indecision that has stayed too long. Indecision is not a neutral state. It drains you. It steals your energy. It keeps you perpetually in the waiting room of your own life, while your actual life is happening outside those doors. So hear me now with all the love and all the seriousness this moment deserves. Delay is no longer harmless. And I am not telling you this to pressure you or to crush you. I am telling you this because I want you free. I want you out of the paralysis. I want you moving. I want you living. Not just surviving, actually living. You still have time. I want to be very clear about that. You still have time. But the time is not unlimited, and the fact that it is not unlimited is not meant to scare you. It is meant to sharpen you, to wake you up to the significance of right now. Even a small decision in the right direction is more powerful than months of thinking about it. So decide, my child. Even if your hands are shaking, even if you are not sure, even if you are afraid, decide and watch what happens when you do. My dear child, let me speak to you now about something that has been holding you in place for far too long. Excuses. Now, before you feel defensive, please stay with me, because I am not speaking to you with judgment. I am speaking to you with a kind of love that cares too much to let you stay comfortable in a place that is slowly draining your life. I know every excuse you have collected over the years, and I want you to know that many of them are not lies. They are real. They are true. Your pain is real. Your tiredness is real. Your fear of being hurt again is real. Your uncertainty is real. I am not asking you to pretend that none of those things exist. But here is the difference between acknowledging your pain and using your pain as a reason to stay still forever. One is honesty, the other is hiding. You have become very skilled at explaining your life. You can trace every wound back to its origin. You can articulate exactly why moving forward feels impossible. You can justify your hesitation with intelligence and with experience, and that understanding is not worthless. Knowing your story matters, but understanding your story is not the same as surrendering it. At some point, explanation has to give way to action. Reflection has to give way to response. Otherwise, even your deepest insight becomes just another hiding place. What I am asking from you is not performance. I am not asking you to show up healed and whole and fully confident. I am asking for your attention, your presence, your willingness to be here right now and to look at me without looking away. Attention is the doorway through which everything else enters. When you give me your full attention, something begins to shift. Fear loses just a little bit of its grip. Clarity sharpens just a little bit more. Courage begins to form, not the loud, dramatic kind, but the quiet, steady kind that moves even when the heart is trembling. So stay here with me. Do not rush ahead in your mind to outcomes and what-ifs. Do not retreat into analysis and overthinking. Be present right now. This moment is still open, and what you do with it, how you respond to it, matters more than you may realize. My dear child, I want to talk to you about surrender, because I know that word makes many people nervous. When you hear the word surrender, your mind probably goes to words the world has taught you, that surrender is what happens when you fail. But I need to completely reframe that word for you today, because surrender is not what happens when you fail. Surrender is what happens when you finally become wise enough to stop carrying what was never yours to carry alone. Think about resistance for a moment. Think about how much of your energy has gone into resistance over the years. Resisting change, resisting vulnerability, resisting trust, resisting the unknown, holding tight to control because letting go felt too dangerous, bracing yourself against outcomes you could not predict, managing every variable so that nothing could catch you off guard. Does that sound like strength, or does that sound exhausting? Resistance has taken so much from you, your peace, your sleep, your clarity, your energy. Resistance kept you lying awake at night, running scenarios in your head that never actually happened. Resistance kept you building walls around yourself that were supposed to keep pain out, but ended up keeping joy out too. Resistance told you that holding on was strength, but look at what it cost you. Look at the quiet ache that comes from knowing deep down that you are capable of more, but feeling unable to move toward it. Resistance is expensive. It drains without producing anything. It consumes without building anything. It promises safety but delivers stagnation, and you have paid that price for long enough. Surrender is the opposite of all of that. Surrender is not collapsing. It is not giving up your will. It is not becoming passive or powerless. Surrender is aligning your will with truth. It is stopping the exhausting fight against reality and beginning to cooperate with grace instead. When you surrender, you stop wasting energy on control, and you start receiving strength for actual movement. And yes, it feels frightening at first, because surrender exposes the fears you have been managing. It asks you to step into uncertainty without a guarantee. But that initial cost is nothing compared to the ongoing daily payment of resistance. Surrender asks once, and then it gives back more than you can imagine. It gives peace where tension lived. It gives clarity where confusion ruled. It gives direction where circling dominated. It gives rest to muscles that have been clenched tight for years. You think surrender will take something precious from you, but resistance has already taken far more than surrender ever could. I am not asking you to surrender to chaos or to uncertainty alone. I am asking you to surrender to me. And I want you to know something very important. I have never mishandled anything that was placed in my hands. Not once, not ever. I would not ask you to release what I am not ready to replace with something better. So, lay down the resistance, my child. It has done everything it can do. Let surrender lead you now. Now let me speak to you about how this whole thing actually works, because you have been waiting for clarity before you move. And I need to gently, but firmly tell you that you have the order completely backwards. You have been asking me to show you the entire path, to explain every outcome, to resolve every uncertainty before you take a single step. But that is not how life unfolds. That is not how faith functions. That is not how I have ever operated. Clarity is not the prerequisite for movement. Clarity is the reward that comes after movement. You take the next step, and then the path becomes a little more visible. You obey in the small thing, and then the bigger picture starts to come into focus. You move with what little light you have, and then more light comes. That is the order. Movement first, clarity second, not the other way around. You are tired because you have been trying to see 10 steps ahead when I am only asking you to see one. Your mind is overwhelmed because you have been demanding answers to questions that will not be answered until after you move, not before. This is not confusion. It is just that you have the sequence wrong. And once you understand the sequence, everything becomes a little less impossible. Your next step is rarely as dramatic as you imagine it to be. It is usually something simple, something quiet, something you already know deep down that you need to do but have been putting off. It might be a conversation you have been avoiding for months, a habit you know in your heart needs to change, a truth you need to finally admit out loud, a relationship you need to repair or release, a commitment you need to stop breaking. That step that makes your heart beat just a little faster when you imagine actually doing it, that is almost always the one. The step that costs you some comfort but gives you alignment. That step carries more power than you realize. Once you take it, things begin to shift. Not everything at once, but enough to keep going. So stop demanding a view of the entire staircase. Take the next step, just one, with me. Not confidently necessarily, not fearlessly, just willingly. That is enough. When you move, I move with you. When you step, I reveal more. When you obey, I confirm direction. This is always how the path has unfolded. Not all at once, but faithfully. Always faithfully. My dear child, I want you to understand something about how heaven sees you, because I think you have a distorted picture in your mind. You imagine that heaven is watching you with suspicion, with a clipboard, checking off all the ways you are falling short, waiting to catch you in your failures, ready to confirm your worst fears about yourself. But that picture could not be further from the truth. Heaven is watching you with attention, with expectancy, with a kind of holy stillness that leans forward because what is happening in your life right now actually matters in ways that go far beyond what you can see. There are moments when the unseen world draws closer, when everything gets just a little quieter, when the atmosphere feels weighted with something significant. This is one of those moments. And the reason heaven is paying attention is not because you are being evaluated. It is because you are valued. Heaven does not watch what it does not care about. Attention is given to what matters, and you matter. Your choices matter. Your willingness matters. Your courage, even the trembling kind, matters. The unseen world has been watching your quiet faithfulness in the hard seasons. It has witnessed the nights you kept believing when doubt was pressing in from every direction. It has seen the moments you chose integrity when no one was watching. It has recorded the times you chose hope over bitterness, humility over pride, kindness over retaliation. That history is the very reason this moment carries so much weight. This is not a test designed to trick you. This is the natural progression of a life that has been steadily shaped for responsiveness. You have been prepared for this moment, even if you do not feel prepared. And here is something important to understand. Preparation is often only recognized after you step into obedience. You rarely feel prepared before you begin. You feel prepared as you go. Heaven is not expecting perfection from you. It is expecting honesty. It is expecting presence. It is expecting a response that says, I will not turn away from this. So do not shrink from the weight of this moment. Let it steady you instead of intimidating you. When you say yes, even quietly, even imperfectly, even with shaking hands, movement begins. Assistance aligns. Strength is dispatched. Peace follows. This is not theory. This is the way things actually work, in the unseen order of things. Your response matters because you matter. Choose with me. Heaven is not watching to judge you. It is watching to join you. My dear child, you need to hear this next part very carefully, and I need you to not let fear twist what I am about to say. This is a moment of mercy, a real, genuine, open window of grace. And I am not saying this to frighten you. I am saying this because love does not stay silent when the clock is moving. Seasons are gifts. They open with opportunity and they close with consequence. Each season carries its own particular assignments, its own sensitivities, its own possibilities. And when one season closes and another begins, things are different. Not impossible, but different. What flows easily in one season requires more effort in the next. What is simple to hear right now can become harder to hear later, not because my voice gets quieter, but because repeated delay slowly numbs the heart. What is ignored long enough becomes background noise. That is why I am speaking so plainly right now, because I love you, and love tells the truth, even when the truth is uncomfortable. You may feel a kind of sadness hearing this, as if something precious is at risk of being lost. Let that sadness do its job. Let it sharpen your attention. Let it make this moment feel as significant as it actually is. This is not ending because you failed. This moment is concluding because it has done its work. It has led you here to this decision, not to drift endlessly, not to delay indefinitely, but to actually decide. If you respond now, this season closes in alignment. It carries momentum into what comes next. If you delay again, it closes in a different kind of tension. Not punishment, but lessons that will simply need to be learned under heavier conditions than these. So hear this as the mercy that it is. An invitation with urgency, not a sentence with threat. Me saying, do not miss what is available while the door is open, not removing your choice, simply illuminating the consequence of not making one. You are not being rushed out of love. You are being ushered into maturity. This season has brought you clarity, confrontation, and invitation. It has done its work. Now it is asking for your response. Honor it by answering it. Now, my dear child, I want to make sure you understand something clearly. Everything I have been saying to you, all of this urgency, all of this directness, all of this pressing, it is not pressure, it is rescue. And those two things feel very similar from the outside, but they are completely different on the inside. Pressure wants something from you. Pressure demands performance. Pressure says, do more, be more, prove yourself, earn it. Rescue wants something for you. Rescue says, stop struggling alone. Let me help. Let me take some of this weight. Let me pull you out of what is pulling you under. I know your body has learned to brace itself whenever urgency appears, because in your past, urgency often arrived wrapped in manipulation or unreasonable expectation or punishment. Someone spoke with urgency and it meant you were in trouble. Someone pressed you with intensity and it meant you had failed. So now, when you feel any kind of pressing, any kind of divine urgency, your body tenses up and waits for the blow. But I need you to feel the difference right now. Listen to my voice. I am not pushing you toward collapse. I am pulling you away from drowning. I see how long you have been treading water, convincing yourself that you were fine because you had not fully sunk yet. I see how much energy it has taken just to keep your head above the surface, how tired your arms are, how shallow your breathing has become. Rescue does not arrive to criticize how you ended up in the water. Rescue arrives because staying in the water will eventually cost you more than you can afford to pay. You have been interpreting rescue as pressure because rescue requires a response. A hand extended must be taken. A voice calling out must be answered, and responding feels vulnerable. It means admitting that you needed help. It means dropping the pretense that you have everything under control. But rescue does not shame you for needing help. Rescue honors your honesty. I am not asking you to swim harder. I am asking you to stop pretending you do not need help. And yes, rescue comes with urgency. But that urgency is love intensified, not love hardened. When someone you love deeply is in danger, your voice gets louder, not because you are angry at them, but because you care too much to speak softly, when speaking softly is not enough. That is what you are hearing right now. The voice of love that has gotten louder because it refuses to watch you struggle alone any longer. So let go of the interpretation that you are being pressured. You are being rescued, and rescue does not end at the shore. I will not pull you out of the water and leave you shaking and alone. I will steady you. I will warm you. I will help you breathe again. I will walk with you into the next thing and the thing after that. But you must let me reach for your hand. Let yourself be helped. Let this be where the exhausting struggle finally ends. My dear child, before we go any further, I want to speak to that deep, quiet place inside you, the place underneath all the thinking and analyzing and debating, the place that already knows. You have been asking for more signs, more confirmation, more proof, more clarity. And all the while, something underneath all of your thinking has already known the truth. Your heart recognized this message before your mind could form an argument against it. That knowing you feel right now, that sense of resonance, that simultaneous feeling of being drawn in and exposed at the same time, that is not imagination. That is not emotion. That is the place where truth lands, when it finally finds the right soil. You have tried to quiet that knowing before. You told yourself it was impractical, inconvenient, unrealistic. You buried it under responsibility and caution, and the fear of being disappointed again. But knowing does not die easily. It waits. It stays. It resurfaces when the time is right. And it has been waiting patiently through every delay, every excuse, every season of circling the same ground, not condemning you, not accusing you, just remaining, just being present, just holding its ground until you were ready to hear it. Your heart already knows what your next step is. It already knows where you are being invited. It already knows that this is not coincidence, not manipulation, not wishful thinking. You do not need more signs. You do not need more time to think about it. You need to honor what has already been made clear within you. You need to align your decision with what your deepest knowing has already recognized as true. When you do that, peace will not have to chase you. It will meet you right there, and you will know, in a way that goes deeper than words, that you answered when it mattered most. Now, my dear child, open your eyes a little wider. Look at the world around you, not with fear, not with despair, but with understanding. You can see what is happening. You do not need someone to explain to you that something is shifting in the world right now. You feel it. Everyone feels it. The acceleration, the instability, the sense that something big is coming and no one is quite sure what to do about it. But I told you this was coming. I told you that before the end of the age, you would see nations in conflict. You would see the earth shaking. You would see weather patterns changing. You would see moral foundations crumbling. And you look around and you see exactly that. And many people look at these things and they are filled with terror. They feel helpless and afraid. But I want you to look at these things differently. I want you to see them not as the world ending, but as the beginning of something new being born. Think of a woman in labor. When the contractions begin, they are far apart and manageable. But as the birth gets closer, they become more frequent, more intense, more impossible to ignore. That is exactly what is happening in the world right now. The contractions are getting closer together. The intensity is increasing. And that is not a sign of destruction alone. It is a sign of a birth approaching. The kingdom is coming closer. And every shaking, every storm, every moral earthquake is simply a contraction in the labor that precedes it. I told you not to be troubled by these things. I told you that when you see them beginning to happen, you should lift up your head, not look down in despair, not hide in fear. Look up in hope, because your redemption is drawing near. The world looks down when it sees these signs. My children are supposed to look up. The darker the world gets around you, the more important it is that your light is shining. A candle matters more in a dark room than in a bright one. Your faith matters more in a shaking world than in a stable one. Your peace is more powerful in the middle of chaos than it would ever be in the middle of comfort. So do not let the news paralyze you. Do not let the headlines steal your peace. Your economy is the kingdom of heaven. Your anchor is the throne of God, and that throne has not moved, not even slightly. Live ready. Keep your heart full. Be the lighthouse in the gathering storm. My dear child, I need to speak very honestly to you now about the road you are walking, because the road you are on matters enormously. Not all roads lead to the same destination. And I think somewhere deep inside, you already know this. There is a road that is wide and easy and crowded. It is paved with comfort and compromise, and the desire to just fit in. It goes in the direction of least resistance. It says, do whatever feels good. Live for yourself. Avoid discomfort at all costs. And millions of people are on that road right now, laughing and celebrating and moving forward without a thought about where it ends. But it ends somewhere you do not want to go. And I am saying that not to threaten you, but to tell you the truth. Because truth is one of the most loving gifts I can give you. The other road is narrow. It is not popular. You cannot walk it with all your baggage still strapped to your back. You cannot take your pride, your ego, your secret sins, and your love for what the world offers through the narrow gate. The gate is too small for all of that. To enter, you have to get humble. You have to let some things go. You have to choose obedience over comfort, holiness over acceptance, truth over what is easy to hear. And yes, this road can feel lonely sometimes. You may look around and see people you love choosing the wider road because it looks more fun and more inclusive and more tolerant, and you will feel the pressure to go with them. But the narrow road is the only road where I am walking. The wide road may be full of people, but it is empty of my presence. The narrow road may feel rocky and steep, and sometimes quite solitary. But every single step of the way, I am there. My hand is in yours. My voice is in your ear. My strength is in your legs when yours gives out. Do not trade your eternal destiny for temporary comfort. Do not give up your birthright for the temporary pleasure of fitting in. Stay on the path. Keep your eyes on what is ahead. Press forward, my child. The destination is worth every single difficult step. And speaking of the path, let me speak to you now about the war you are in. Because one of the enemy's greatest victories is convincing you that you are not in a battle at all, making you believe that your struggles are just bad luck or difficult circumstances or your own personality flaws. But there is a real enemy of your soul. He is not just a metaphor. He is not just a concept. He is active, and he has a specific strategy designed precisely for you. His primary tactic is going after your identity. He wants you to forget who you belong to. He whispers to you in your own internal voice so that you think the thoughts are yours. He says, "You are a failure. You are worthless. You are not loved. God has given up on you. You will never change." And you believe these thoughts because they sound real. They feel real. But they are not. They are the accusations of an enemy who knows exactly who you are and is terrified of you walking in that identity. He attacks your identity because if you ever fully realize who you are, a beloved child of the Most High God, clothed in authority and purpose and power, you will become dangerous to everything He has built in your life and in the lives of people around you. So He keeps you feeling small. He keeps you focused on your failures. He keeps you trapped in shame and self-doubt because a child of God who knows who they are is the last thing he wants walking around in the world. Fear is his most reliable weapon. He uses what-if scenarios. What if I lose everything? What if I make the wrong choice? What if it does not work? What if I get hurt again? And you look at those pictures, and your body responds as if they are real, as if the disaster has already happened, and you freeze. But fear is a liar. When the enemy brings fear to your mind, you raise the shield of faith. You say, "My God has never failed me, not once, and He will not start today." You have authority over the enemy in my name. Use it. You are not a helpless victim watching your life get stolen from you. You have been given authority to overcome every power of the enemy. When that heaviness tries to settle on you, throw it off. When that voice of condemnation starts whispering, silence it with truth. Passive faith will not survive this season. You need to be a warrior. Stand your ground. Know your identity. Wear your armor. Resist the enemy, and he will flee. That is a promise that does not expire. My dear child, pause for just a moment here. Can you feel how much ground we have covered together? Can you feel how much has been spoken over your heart in this conversation? Do not let this moment slip away. If you have not yet subscribed, do it right now because these words are here for you regularly, and you deserve to keep receiving them. Turn on the notifications and become part of this community of people who refuse to stop moving forward. My dear child, I am not done with you yet. There is so much more that I want to pour into your heart today, so much more that needs to be said, so much more that your soul has been waiting to hear. So stay with me a little longer, because what comes next may be the very thing that finally unlocks what has been stuck inside you for years. Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you truly rested? Not slept, not sat on a couch scrolling through your phone, not collapsed into bed out of pure exhaustion, but truly rested. The kind of rest where your mind was quiet, and your heart was at peace, and you felt genuinely safe. When was the last time that happened for you? For many of you, it has been a very long time, maybe so long that you have forgotten what it actually feels like. You have been running for so long that running has started to feel normal. You have been carrying so much for so long that the weight has started to feel normal. You have been surviving on so little peace for so long that you have started to confuse survival with living. But surviving is not living. And I did not create you to merely survive. I created you to live fully, deeply, abundantly, with peace that does not depend on your circumstances and joy that does not require everything to go right. I want to give you that rest, real rest, the kind that goes all the way down to the deepest parts of you, the kind that heals places that sleep cannot reach. Come to me, all of you who are tired and carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. That is not just a comforting phrase. That is a genuine, standing, open invitation. It was spoken for you. It is being spoken to you right now, in this moment. And the rest I am offering is not a temporary relief. It is a permanent repositioning. When you come to me and lay down your burdens, you do not just get a break from the weight. You get a new way of walking, a lighter way, a freer way, a way where the same things that used to crush you no longer have that kind of power. But you have to come. You have to actually bring the burdens and put them down, not just talk about putting them down, not just feel emotional about the idea of putting them down. Actually release them into my hands with the full intention of leaving them there. That is the part that requires something from you, and I know it is the hard part, because your burdens, as heavy as they are also familiar. You know them. You have been carrying them so long that they have become part of your identity, and letting go of something that has been part of your identity feels frightening. But what you are losing is not a piece of yourself. What you are losing is a weight that was never meant to be yours. And what you are gaining is the version of yourself that has always been underneath it, lighter, freer, more alive, more genuinely you than the exhausted, carrying version you have been presenting to the world. So let yourself rest, my dear child, not after you figure everything out, not after you solve every problem, not after everyone in your life is okay. Now. Rest now, even in the middle of the unresolved things, even surrounded by the unanswered questions. Rest is not the absence of difficulty. Rest is the presence of trust in the middle of difficulty, and I am offering you that trust as a gift. Today, my dear child, I want to speak to you about something that has quietly been stealing from you for a very long time: comparison. That invisible thief that climbs into your mind when you are scrolling through someone else's highlight reel, when you hear about someone your age who seems to have accomplished more, when you look at where you thought you would be by now and where you actually are, and something inside you deflates. Something inside you says you are behind. You are less than. You are not enough. Comparison is one of the enemy's most effective and most subtle weapons because it does not feel dangerous. It feels normal. It feels reasonable. But comparison is never honest because it is never complete. You are comparing your full story, including all the hidden struggles and private failures and quiet pain that no one else sees, to someone else's highlight reel, the carefully curated, publicly presented version of their life that shows none of their hidden struggles or private failures or quiet pain. You are comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's front stage performance, and then you wonder why you feel inadequate. There is no one on this earth walking the exact path you are walking. No one has your specific combination of history, personality, gifts, wounds, assignments, and potential. No one is on your timeline. No one is carrying your particular set of burdens and blessings. And no one else can fulfill the purpose that was designed specifically for you. Which means that comparing your journey to someone else's journey is not just unfair, it is completely irrelevant. The comparison simply does not apply. I did not create you to be a copy of anyone else. I created you to be an original, and originals are not evaluated by how closely they resemble other things. They are valuable precisely because they are unique. Your quirks, your particular way of seeing things, your specific kind of sensitivity, your unusual combination of gifts, these are not flaws to be corrected. These are features of your design. These are the things that make you specifically you and specifically necessary in the world. So the next time comparison tries to climb into your mind and whisper that you are falling behind, I want you to remember this. You cannot be behind on a path that was designed only for you. You cannot be late to a destiny that has your name on it. You are exactly where you are for reasons that have purpose in them, even when you cannot see it. And the energy you spend measuring yourself against other people is energy stolen from the actual work of becoming who you were made to be. Focus on your own path, my child. Tend your own garden. Run your own race. And trust that the one who designed the race also designed you specifically for it. You are not behind. You are on your way. My dear child, let us talk about the people in your life. Because relationships are one of the most significant arenas where your spiritual life either grows or gets drained. And I think there are some relationships in your life right now that need to be honestly evaluated, not with judgment, not with bitterness, but with wisdom and with courage. There are people in your life who build you up, and there are people in your life who consistently tear you down. There are people whose presence gives you energy, and people whose presence leaves you feeling depleted every single time. There are people who call out the best in you, and people who have never seen anything good in you and seem determined to keep it that way. And the way you manage those relationships has enormous consequences for your peace, your progress, and your purpose. I want you to know something important. Loving someone does not require you to give them unlimited access to your heart and your energy. You can love someone from a distance. You can pray for someone sincerely while also recognizing that close proximity to them is harmful to you. Love does not mean there are no limits. In fact, sometimes the most loving thing you can do, both for yourself and for the other person, is to establish a clear and firm boundary. You have probably been told at some point, perhaps by a religious voice, that having boundaries is selfish, that a truly loving person gives and gives without limit, that saying no is the opposite of love. But that is not the truth. That is a distortion that has been used to keep good people drained and keep harmful people unaccountable. Boundaries are not walls that keep love out. They are fences that define where your property ends and someone else's begins. They protect what is precious. They create the conditions in which real love can actually grow. Are there relationships in your life right now that need a boundary? A conversation that has been avoided too long? A pattern that has been tolerated too quietly? A dynamic that everyone has gotten so used to that no one questions it anymore, even though it is slowly draining the life out of you? I am asking you to look honestly at these things. Not to condemn anyone, not to carry bitterness, but to be honest enough with yourself to acknowledge what is actually happening and courageous enough to address it. And on the other side of that, are there relationships in your life that you have been neglecting? People who have shown up for you consistently and faithfully, and whom you have taken for granted because they are reliable? Are there connections that once meant a great deal to you that have slowly been allowed to wither simply because life got busy and you kept putting the reconnection off for later? Those relationships are worth fighting for. Reach out, be humble, be the one who makes the first move. Do not let pride or busyness take things from you that genuinely matter. Your relationships are one of the primary ways my love reaches the world through you. The way you treat the people in your life, the patience you extend, the forgiveness you choose, the kindness you practice, the loyalty you maintain. These are not small things. These are the daily, ordinary, profoundly important acts of love that shape both you and the people around you. Take them seriously. Now, my dear child, let me speak to you about something that many people experience, but few talk about honestly: the silence of God. The seasons when you have been praying and the heavens feel silent. When you have been seeking and you feel nothing. When you have been knocking and the door seems to remain closed. When you look around at your circumstances and everything you see contradicts what you have been believing for. These seasons are real. I am not going to pretend they do not exist or minimize how painful they are. The silence does not feel spiritual and meaningful when you are in the middle of it. It feels lonely and confusing and sometimes frightening. And the temptation in those seasons is to conclude that I have forgotten you, that your prayers are going nowhere, that maybe this whole thing is not real after all. But hear me carefully right now. My silence is never absence. My silence is often the most active I am being in your life, even when you cannot feel or see it. When I am quiet, it is often because I am doing something beneath the surface that requires stillness to complete. A seed does not make any noise while it is germinating underground. There is nothing visible happening, nothing to point to, nothing to say, "Look, it is working." But underneath the soil, in the darkness, everything necessary is taking place. And then one day, with no warning, something pushes through the ground into the light, and it is unmistakable. That is what my silence often looks like. Invisible work, subterranean formation, the shaping of things that need to happen out of your sight before they can manifest in your life. And your job in those seasons, as difficult as it is to trust. Not to understand, not to see, not to feel, just to trust, to keep planting, to keep praying, to keep showing up, even when nothing seems to be responding, because the harvest is coming. It always comes. The one who made the seed does not abandon it in the ground. And sometimes my silence is a gift in disguise. Sometimes what you have been asking for cannot yet be given to you, not because I do not want to give it, but because you are not yet fully ready to receive it. Not because you are bad or unworthy, but because there is still preparation work happening in you that needs to be completed first. And if I gave you the thing before the preparation was done, it would not fit, it would not sustain. It would overwhelm what is not yet strong enough to carry it. So when the silence stretches on, ask me not just when, but also, what are you building in me right now? What is being formed in this season that could not be formed any other way? What strength, what wisdom, what character, what depth is being developed in this waiting that I could not have developed any other way? Because I promise you, there is an answer to those questions. The silence is not empty, it is full of work you cannot yet see. Hold on, my dear child. Keep trusting. The silence will break. And when it does, you will understand why it lasted as long as it did. My dear child, do not go anywhere just yet. We are going somewhere important together, and I need you to stay with me through this next part. If these words have been reaching you today, if something in your heart has been stirred, if you have been feeling that gentle but persistent pull towards something more, I want to encourage you right now to think of that person, the one who came to mind just now when I said that. Send this to them. You may not know exactly what they are going through, but I do, and I directed your thoughts toward them for a reason. Be the voice that reaches them today. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do that right now as well, because more conversations. My dear child, I want to talk to you about forgiveness, not as a concept, not as a theological principle, but as the very practical, very difficult, very necessary act that could be the single thing standing between you and genuine freedom. Right now, there is someone you need to forgive. You already know who it is. The name or the face came to your mind almost immediately when I said that. And along with the name came a familiar tightening in your chest, a familiar mixture of pain and anger and grief, and maybe even shame, because the wound they gave you was real. What they did, what they said, how they treated you, the way they let you down, or betrayed you, or abandoned you, or hurt you, it was real. I am not asking you to pretend it was not real. I am not asking you to minimize it or excuse it or say it does not matter. But I am asking you to forgive it. And I need to be very clear about what forgiveness actually is, because there are so many misunderstandings about it that keep good people imprisoned in unforgiveness, thinking they are holding on to something important. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was okay. It was not okay. Forgiveness is not pretending you were not hurt. You were hurt. Forgiveness is not trusting that person again automatically or allowing them back into your life without appropriate boundaries. Forgiveness does not require reconciliation. Forgiveness is simply the decision to release the debt, to stop holding the account open, to stop waiting for them to pay back what they took from you, because they cannot pay it back. They do not have what it takes to give you back what was taken. And as long as you hold that account open, as long as you stay in that posture of waiting for them to make it right, you are not free. You are chained to them by the very thing you think gives you power over them. Unforgiveness feels powerful, but it is actually a prison. And the terrible irony is that the person who hurt you is often living their life completely unaffected by your unforgiveness, while you carry the weight of it every single day. You are the one losing sleep. You are the one replaying the memories. You are the one whose stomach tightens when you hear their name. They have moved on, and you are still chained to that moment. Forgiveness unlocks the chain from your wrist, not theirs, yours. It does not mean they won. It means you chose your freedom over your right to be angry. And that is one of the most powerful choices a human being can make. I know it is hard. I know it may need to happen more than once. I know there are layers to it that go deep, but start today. Even if it is just a whisper, even if it is just you saying out loud, I choose to forgive. I do not feel it yet. I do not understand it fully yet, but I am choosing it. That choice is the beginning, and I will help you walk it out from there. You do not have to do it all at once, but you have to start. Who do you need to forgive today? Speak their name. Make the choice. Let the chain fall. You have been carrying this long enough. And while we are talking about forgiveness, let us talk about forgiving yourself, because for some of you, the person you have been least able to forgive is the one you see in the mirror. You have extended grace to other people. You have made allowances for other people's failures. You have been patient and understanding with other people's mistakes. But when it comes to your own failures, your own regrets, your own moments of weakness or cowardice or poor judgment, you have been merciless. You have held yourself to a standard of perfection that you would never hold anyone else to. And the verdict you have given yourself is that you are not forgivable. But that is not your verdict to give. That verdict was settled at the cross when everything was laid bare and the full weight of every failure was placed on that altar. The verdict that came back was not guilty, forgiven, redeemed, restored, made new. That is the verdict. And it applies to you, not to the version of you that gets everything right, to you as you are, with your history intact. Self-condemnation is not humility. True humility receives grace. True humility says, I was wrong, and I am forgiven, and I will move forward differently. Self-condemnation says, I was wrong, and I deserve to stay here in this punishment indefinitely because I cannot trust myself to be different. Self-condemnation keeps you small. It keeps you from stepping into the fullness of who you were made to be because it convinces you that your past disqualifies your future. But your past does not write your future. I do, and I have written something good for you, something purposeful, something that requires you to actually show up, not remain hidden under the weight of self-punishment. So forgive yourself, my child, not because you deserve it by your own merit, but because it has already been paid for, and refusing to receive it does not honor the price that was paid, it dishonors it. Receive the forgiveness. Walk out from under the condemnation, and step into the future that is waiting for someone who has been made free. My dear child, let me speak to you now about purpose, because I think purpose is something you have thought about a great deal and felt confused about for a long time. You have asked the question so many times, what am I here for? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to do with my life? And those questions have sometimes been met with silence, and sometimes with vague spiritual phrases that sounded meaningful, but did not give you anything concrete to work with. So let me speak to you practically about this. Your purpose is not a single specific job title or career path that you need to find. Your purpose is bigger than that, and also more immediate than that. Your purpose is connected to who you are, not just what you do. It is woven into your personality, your passions, your experiences, your wounds, and your gifts. It shows up in what makes you come alive, in the problems that break your heart, in the needs that make you angry enough to want to do something about them, in the moments when you help someone and afterward feel alive. You already have more clues about your purpose than you realize. You have been dismissing them as coincidences or irrelevant feelings, but they are breadcrumbs. They are pointing you somewhere. The thing that keeps coming back to your mind when you imagine what a meaningful life could look like, the idea you keep having that you keep talking yourself out of, the gift that comes so naturally to you that you do not even fully recognize it as a gift because it feels too easy to count. These are the things worth paying attention to. And here is something critically important to understand. Your purpose is not just for you. Your purpose is always connected to other people. What I put in you was put there for the benefit of people around you. Your gifts are not decorations. They are tools. Your experiences, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones, were not wasted. They were preparing you to serve in ways that only someone with your particular history can serve. The things that broke you are also the very things that give you the specific kind of empathy that makes you effective in helping others who are broken in similar ways. So stop searching for your purpose out there somewhere as if it is hidden from you. Start paying attention to what is already in you. Start using what you already have. Start serving with what you already know. Purpose is not a destination you arrive at someday. It is a direction you choose every day. And every day you choose to love well, to use what you have been given, to show up for the people in front of you with the gifts and the heart you carry. You are walking in purpose. Even if it looks small, even if no one is watching, even if you never get a title or a platform or recognition for it, walk in purpose, my dear child. It is already in you. It has been there all along. Now, let me speak to you about prayer. Real prayer. Not the kind you perform because you are supposed to. Not the kind you rush through before meals or squeeze in at the end of a long day as a kind of spiritual obligation. Real prayer. The kind where you actually come to me as a person comes to another person. The kind where you bring your actual thoughts and your actual feelings and your actual confusion and your actual anger and your actual desperate need. The kind where something real happens because something real was offered. So many people treat prayer like a ritual. They use the right words in the right order and say, Amen, and feel done. But prayer was never designed to be a formality. Prayer was designed to be a relationship. It was designed to be the primary channel through which we stay connected, through which you bring your life to me, and I bring my wisdom and my strength and my love into your life. It is supposed to be alive, dynamic, honest, real. Can you pray honestly? Can you come to me with the things that you are actually feeling, even when those feelings are not pretty? Even when you are angry at me? Even when you are confused about what I am doing or not doing? Even when you are too tired to form proper sentences and all you have is sitting in the quiet and saying, I need you. Because that is enough. All of that is enough. I do not require performance in prayer. I require presence. I require honesty. I require you actually showing up as yourself rather than as the version of yourself you think I want to see. Some of the most powerful prayers in Scripture were not polished or poetic. They were desperate. They were raw. They were people in pain, crying out from the deep. And I answered those prayers not because they were eloquent, but because they were real. Make your prayer life real, my child. Talk to me throughout the day, not just in designated prayer time. While you are driving, while you are cooking, while you are lying in bed trying to sleep. Talk to me about what you are thinking about. Ask me questions. Tell me your fears. Express your gratitude for small things. Complain to me when you are frustrated. Ask for help when you are struggling. Celebrate with me when something good happens. Let me into the ordinary fabric of your daily life, because that is where relationship actually grows, not in grand spiritual moments, in the everyday honest conversation. And listen. After you speak, be quiet long enough to listen. Do not do all the talking and none of the receiving. My response may come as a thought, a scripture that surfaces in your mind, a sense of peace, a gentle conviction, a sense of direction. Stay quiet long enough to notice. Stay present long enough to receive. Prayer is a conversation, and conversations require two participants. My dear child, I want to speak to you about gratitude, because gratitude is one of the most powerful and most underestimated forces available to you. And I think in your current season, you may have been looking so long at what is missing, what is not working, what has not happened yet, what still needs to change, that you have lost sight of what is already present, what is already working, what has already happened, what is already good. Gratitude is not denying the hard things. Gratitude is not pretending everything is fine when it is not. Gratitude is choosing to also see and acknowledge the good that is real and present alongside the difficulty. It is saying, yes, this is hard, and also there is something here to be thankful for. Both things can be true at the same time. And the discipline of finding the second thing, of actively looking for what is good, what is gift, what is grace, even in difficult seasons, is one of the most transformative practices you can develop. When you practice gratitude consistently, something begins to shift in how you see everything, not because your circumstances change, but because your focus changes. What you consistently look at fills your vision and eventually shapes your reality. If you consistently look at lack, you will see lack everywhere. If you consistently look for grace, you will find it everywhere. Not because you are denying what is hard, but because you have trained your eyes to also see what is good. Start simple. Right now, in this very moment. What is one thing you are genuinely grateful for? Not what you are supposed to be grateful for. Not the automatic answer. What is actually good in your life right now? A relationship, a memory, something you learned, something you survived. The fact that you are still breathing. The fact that you woke up this morning. The fact that something in you is still fighting even though it has been hard. Find that thing. Hold it. Let it be real for a moment. That is where gratitude begins. One real thing, and then another, until slowly the landscape of your inner life begins to change. Until slowly, hope becomes a little more natural than despair. Until slowly, you find yourself looking at your life, not with the exhausted eyes of someone who never has enough, but with the open eyes of someone who keeps finding grace in unexpected places. Be grateful, my dear child. It is one of the most revolutionary things you can do. And now let me close this part of our conversation by speaking directly to the tired ones. The ones who have been fighting for so long that fighting has started to feel normal. The ones who have been strong for so long for everyone around them that they have forgotten what it feels like to be held. The ones who are holding everything together on the outside while everything feels like it is falling apart on the inside. The ones who keep going not because they feel strong, but because stopping feels impossible. I see you. I know exactly how tired you are. Not just physically tired, soul tired. The kind of tired that sleep does not fix. The kind of tired that comes from carrying more than one person was designed to carry for longer than any person should have to carry it alone. And I want you to hear this directly and personally right now. You do not have to keep being that strong. You were not designed to carry everything alone. Strength was never meant to mean the absence of needing help. Strength means being honest enough to reach out when reaching out is hard. And right now, reaching out is exactly what is needed. Let me carry some of this with you. Not metaphorically. Actually, bring me the specific thing that is wearing you out the most right now. Name it. Not in your head. Out loud if you can. Tell me exactly what it is. And then practice the most courageous act available to you in this moment. Let go of it. Lay it down. Not forever, if that feels too big. Just for today, just for this moment. Trust that I am holding it while your hands rest. Trust that the world will not fall apart if you stop white-knuckling it for a few minutes. You have been so brave for so long. You have shown up when you did not feel able. You have kept going when everything in you wanted to stop. You have chosen faith over fear more times than you can count, even when faith felt completely unreasonable. I see all of that, every single moment of it, and I am not asking you to keep going in your own strength. I am asking you to shift, to stop running on the empty fumes of human resilience, and start drawing from the unlimited supply that is available to you through me. My strength is made perfect in weakness. That is not a comfort phrase. That is an architectural truth. The structure of grace is built in such a way that your weakness is not an obstacle to my power working through you. Your weakness is actually the very opening through which my power enters most freely. When you are strong enough in yourself, you tend to rely on yourself. When you come to the end of what you can do, that is when you finally create the space for what only I can do. And what I can do is immeasurably more than anything you could produce on your own. So be weak today if that is what you are. Be tired if that is what you are. Be uncertain and afraid and stretched thin if that is what you are. Bring all of it to me, not cleaned up, not sorted out, just as it is. And watch what happens when you finally stop trying to handle everything yourself and actually let me in. You are not alone, my dear child. You have never been alone. Not for a single moment of your entire life, and you will not be alone in whatever comes next. I am here, I have always been here, and I am not going anywhere. My dear child, I want to speak to you now about something that so many people carry in secret, the things you hide, the compartments in your life where you let me in, and the compartments where you have quietly locked the door. You think if you keep those doors closed long enough, if you manage those areas carefully enough, they will somehow not count, they will not affect you. They will just stay contained in their little box and not spill into the rest of your life. But nothing works that way. Everything is connected. What you hide in the dark does not stay quietly in the dark. It leaks. It seeps into your peace, into your relationships, into your ability to receive love and give it. The guilt you carry from what is hidden does not stay neatly in its box. It becomes a low, humming anxiety in the background of everything you do. It is why you feel exhausted even when you have slept. It is why you feel distant from me even when you are doing all the right religious things on the outside. That wall of hidden things is blocking your view of my face. But I am not telling you this to shame you. I am telling you this because I see how heavy that burden is. I see how long you have been carrying it, and I want to take it. Confession is not for my information. I already know everything. Confession is for your liberation. When you speak what has been hidden out loud, when you bring it into the light, the darkness loses its grip on it. It cannot control you from the shadows anymore. You have exposed it. And what is exposed loses its power. There is no sin in your history too great for my blood to cover. There is no stain so deep that I cannot make it completely clean. There is nothing in your story that disqualifies you from restoration. But you have to bring it to me. You have to open that clenched fist and let go of the shame. The enemy tells you that if you tell me the truth, I will reject you. But that is perhaps his oldest and most persistent lie. The truth is that when you tell me the truth, I will embrace you. I will wash you. I will restore you. And then I will use your story to reach other people who are hiding the same things and need to see that freedom is real. No more hiding. Let us deal with this together right now. Give it to me and walk away lighter than you have felt in years. And now, my dear child, let us talk about the distractions. Because you live in a world that has been expertly designed to keep you from the very things that matter most. Every notification, every headline, every scroll, every stream of content is competing for your attention. And whoever has your attention has enormous power over your life. The enemy knows this. He knows that if he can keep you distracted enough for long enough, he does not need to do much else. You will drift on your own. You are chasing things that cannot satisfy you, not because you are foolish, but because the world is very good at packaging empty things in attractive wrapping. Wealth, status, popularity, achievement, approval. These things are not evil in themselves, but they are dust. They cannot feed your soul. You cannot fill a God-shaped hole with earth-sized things. You will only end up hungrier than before. I am inviting you to disconnect from the chaos, to put the phone down, at least for a while, to turn off the noise, to find a quiet place. Not because quiet is easy, but because quiet is where I can finally speak clearly to you. In the stillness, when the distractions have been silenced and the constant flood of input has been paused, that is when you can actually hear what has been trying to reach you all along. Guard what you let into your mind. What you consistently feed your mind eventually becomes the filter through which you see everything. If you fill yourself daily with fear and outrage and comparison and empty entertainment, that will be the lens through which your entire life is interpreted. But if you fill yourself with truth, with peace, with what is good and beautiful and real, your entire life begins to look different, not because your circumstances changed, but because your lens changed. Reclaim your attention, my child. Give it back to what is worthy of it. Now, let me bring everything I have been saying to a point. Because after all of this, after all of the warnings and the invitations and the urgency and the love, it comes down to this one moment. This precise moment, the one you are standing in right now. You have been waiting for a different moment, a better moment, a moment when you feel more ready, more certain, more healed, more brave. But that moment is not coming on its own. That moment is created by what you decide to do in this one. Moments do not arrive ready-made. You make them, you invite them. And how you respond determines not just what happens next in your life, but who you become next. You know what this moment is asking of you. You know which step has been waiting. You know what truth has been sitting in your heart, waiting for your agreement. And even if your hands tremble, even if your heart races, even if something rises in you that feels more like fear than readiness, that does not mean you are wrong. It means you are standing at the edge of something significant. And significant things always stir the soul. I am standing with you right here at this edge. I am not going anywhere. I am not withdrawing if you step forward. I am not abandoning you if what comes next feels unfamiliar. I will walk with you into every single thing that follows your yes. But I will not choose for you, not because I do not love you enough to choose, but because I love you too much to take this decision out of your hands. This is yours. The future attached to it is yours. So decide, my dear child. Say yes to movement. Say yes to obedience. Say yes to surrender. Say yes to the life that has been waiting on the other side of your consent. Let this be the moment you look back on and say, that is where everything changed. I am here. I am waiting. And I am so ready to walk into what comes next with you. And now, as we come to the close of this conversation, I want to leave you with one final truth to carry with you. You came into this message carrying something. Maybe it was doubt. Maybe it was shame. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was a quiet desperation that you had not been able to name. And I hope that by now something has shifted, even slightly, even imperceptibly, because small shifts are where great changes begin. You are not the same person who pressed play on this video. Something has been spoken over you. Something has landed in the soil of your heart. And seeds that land in good soil do not stay seeds forever. They grow, they push through, they reach toward the light. And one day, you will look at your life, and you will see the fruit of what was planted in this moment. Do not walk away from this and go right back to the noise. Take a moment, be still. Let what has been said settle deeply into you. Write something down if you need to. Speak it out loud if that helps. Tell someone what you decided today, because declarations matter. What you speak, you step into. What you confess, you begin to move toward. You are loved more completely than you have ever allowed yourself to believe. You are seen more fully than you have ever felt comfortable with. You are called more specifically than you have ever trusted yourself to accept. And all of that love, all of that seeing, all of that calling, it is not based on what you have done or failed to do. It is based on who you are, a child of the Most High, chosen, valuable, irreplaceable. Go forward now, not perfectly, not fearlessly, just willingly. That has always been enough, and it always will be. My dear child, we have come to the end of this conversation, but not the end of the journey. Everything that has been spoken today was spoken because you matter, not in a small or general way. You matter specifically, personally, profoundly. And the invitation that has been extended to you throughout these words has not expired simply because the message is ending. It is still open. It is still warm. It is still yours to walk into. You came here today, perhaps not even fully knowing why, but there are no accidents in the kingdom. You were guided here because there was something here that you needed. Something that your soul was hungry for, even if your mind did not know how to name it. And I believe you found it today. I believe something shifted. I believe a door opened, even just slightly, that has been closed for a long time. Do not let fear slam it shut again. Do not let the busyness of life slowly push it closed over the next few hours. Hold on to what you received here today. Carry it with you. Act on it, even in the smallest way, because small acts of obedience are the seeds of transformation. And you have been waiting long enough for your transformation to begin. The world needs you walking in your purpose. The people around you need you living in your fullness. And you need to stop living beneath what you were made for. It is time. It has been time. And now, finally, you have chosen to answer. Go, my dear child. Go in peace. Go in purpose. Go in the full confidence that you are never walking alone. And whenever you need to come back to be reminded of who you are and what you are called to, this space will be here waiting for you, just as I always am.